Let's go, let's go, let's go. This is the day that the Lord has made. We are already rejoicing. We are glad in it. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Ramon Preston Show. We are live right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. Today is Tuesday, and my prayer, my hope, my expectation is that so far your Tuesday is going absolutely amazing. If you would be so kind, I want you to do me a quick favor. Hit the like button, hit the share button, you already know the routine, and tag Lolly Dolly everybody and let them know that your boy, Ramon Preston, and my squad, we are live right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. And you, my friend, you are watching the Ramon Preston Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. If you don't know, now you know. My name is Ramon Preston. I am the host of the Ramon Preston Show. And it's not just a show. It's really a teaching session every day, Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time. My team and I, we show up here on this show to really teach you, to educate you, to help you in your process of building a successful life, personally, professionally, financially. We want to make sure that you get your money right, you get your business right, you get your investments right, and that whatever it is that God has called you to do, we want to make sure that you got the information, the tools, and the support to actually get it done. So welcome to the show. Today, we are continuing a conversation, which is part 2 on how to recession-proof your life. How to recession-proof your life. Now, if you watched the show yesterday, I was talking about how to recession-proof your life, and I shared 3 things with you that you should be doing, especially right now. I'm going to add a couple more to that list, so I should end with at least 5 things that you could be doing, you should be doing, and if you do it, you're gonna to some extent you're gonna ensure that your life is recession-proof, especially at this time in history, okay? So again, welcome to the show. Don't forget to put in the comment, put in the chat, wherever you're watching the show from today, whatever platform that you're using, please make sure that you put in the comments or in the chat what city, what state you're watching the Ramon Preston Show from. I would love to know where you're watching the show from. So again, today we are on part 2 of how to recession-proof your life. How do you recession-proof your life? What are some things that you need to do? And just in case you followed me yesterday on the show, just in case you are in our coaching program and you were on our coaching call last night. I actually talked about this last night on my coaching call as well. Now, why am I talking about recession, making sure your life is recession-proof? Well, everybody's talking about Trump, the tariffs, trade wars. People are talking about taxes, inflation, interest rates, what the Fed is doing, the stock market. People are talking about a recession right now. And if you talk to most people, whether they are in the financial space or not, most people fear that we are either in a recession or we're headed to a recession. But like I was telling my coaching clients last night during our weekly coaching call, there are millions and millions of people on this planet right now in the midst of all this turmoil who are not losing money. There are millions and millions of people on this planet right now in the midst of the the tariff issues with Trump and the trade issues and the inflation issues and interest rate issues and stock market issues, there's still millions and millions of people on the planet right now who ain't losing. Okay? And I know, because I'm one of those people, because I have made certain decisions to recession-proof my life. And I know a lot of people that I am around, rooms that I go into, that are full of people who have made certain decisions to recession-proof their life. So you just got to be not just able, but you got to be willing to learn what you need to learn so that you can make different decisions to see different results, because you do not have to be a victim of whatever the economy is going through right now. Whether it's a recession or not, you don't have to be a victim. Your life does not have to fluctuate with the stock market, okay? Your life is not a ticker. So you don't go up and down based on investor sentiment or based on what the market trends are. Your life don't have to be like that. Your finances don't have to be like that. Your business don't have to be like that. Nothing about your investments have to be like that. But in order for you to continue to trend up in your money, in your business, in your career, in your investments, you have to recession-proof your life. So let me give you a brief recap on the first 3 things I said that you should be doing to recession-proof your life. Number 1, we talked about you setting bigger goals. That's number 1. Number 2, we talked about you prioritizing income over all that other stuff that you be worrying about. And number 3, I'm going to reword this a little bit and say, think like a business. So those are the 3 things that we talked about yesterday on the show when I started this conversation about making sure your life is recession proof. If you watched the show yesterday, you would remember. If you were on my coaching call last night, you would remember, because I'm going to continue to have this conversation with as many of you as possible so that you don't keep allowing yourself to be a victim. So why is setting bigger goals one of my recession-proof strategies? Because most people, and when I say most people, we're talking about 99% of the world, have goals. We all have goals, but we just don't set big enough goals. So I gave an example yesterday. Let me refresh your memory just in case you forgot it or just didn't even hear it. Let's say you have a goal to make $100,000 this year, okay? You want to make $100,000 this year. Well, your goal shouldn't just be 100,000. You should set a bigger goal. That goal should be 300,000, 400,000, 500,000. Why? Because if you set a bigger goal, then you have a greater chance, a higher likelihood of actually reaching your initial goal. Because when you set a bigger goal above the initial goal, you can factor in the resistance, the turbulence, the challenges, the problems, all the things that you don't think about when you're setting your initial goal, okay? And when you set a bigger goal, it expands your think, and it also expands your capacity. So now you have a greater capacity to think bigger because your goals are bigger. So you can have a goal of $1,000. You should really multiply that goal to 3,000 to 5,000. So anytime you're setting a goal, you want to expand that goal and make it bigger just on the basis of you understanding that so many things are going to come in between you and the goal you set, that if you don't set a bigger goal, you're definitely not going to hit the initial goal that you set. Okay? So that's number 1, right? Number 2, we talked about you must prioritize income. Now, why are you gonna prioritize income? I'm gonna give y'all my last 2 today, but I want to make sure everybody understands the first 3. Why are you gonna prioritize income? Why are you prioritizing income? because your income is by far your number one wealth building tool. If you speak to any financial expert, any financial advisor, most likely they will all unanimously say that your income is by far your number one wealth building tool. So if you cannot prioritize whatever the income is that you got coming in right now, you're going to trick yourself into thinking that you will prioritize other income that you don't currently have, when that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Okay? So if all I have coming in is $1, I have to prioritize that dollar. And how do I prioritize that dollar? Well, one of the ways you prioritize every dollar that you got coming in as income is you make sure you do what you're supposed to do with every dollar. So I've given this example before. I'll give it again. I'm a pastor. I'm a Christian. I'm a believer. I'm a churchgoer. I'm a tither. I'm a giver, right? So that means when I have $1 of income coming in, I'm going to pay my tithes. That's what I personally do. But for me, paying tithes and giving an offering and sowing seeds is a priority for my income. Doesn't have to be for you. Hey, to each its own. But as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord, and we're going to do it the way I believe doing it. Okay? Then if I have $1 of income coming in, I'm going to pay my tithes. So I'm going to take a percentage out for my tithes and offerings. Then I'm going to carve out a small percentage for me and my wife and our personal family, because this is paying yourself. It's the principle of paying yourself. And then I want to take a percentage of that and I want to carve it out for future investments. So for example, if I bring in $1, maybe 25 cents of that dollar is going to go towards tithes, offerings, me, and future investments. Easily 25%. Easily 25%, right? Maybe even more, but at least 25%. So that means the 75% minimum I'm going to have to live on in terms of my expenses, my bills, and maybe my lifestyle. See, a lot of people, they don't prioritize income because most of their income is going towards bills and expenses, but it's really not bills and expenses. It's really lifestyle, if we would be honest, because we don't have to live the way we live. We don't have to drive the way we drive. We don't have to dress the way we dress. We can make some compromises on what we call expenses and bills, but we don't, because it will compromise the idea we have of a lifestyle we want to live. Most people are just not willing to admit that. You get what I'm saying? So when you see somebody drive up with a junker car, we call it in the hood a slider. So when you see somebody pull up in a slider, but it's paid for, it's a slider though, but it's paid for, it's a slider though, but they ain't got no payments, they ain't got no debt. And then you see them building a different lifestyle for themselves in the future. But then you see somebody else pulling up in a luxury car with debt. I'm one of those some people, so I know how it is. You driving up and all your money going into that car and you thinking, man, I'm goofy. But I'm not here to bash anybody because I make dumb decisions too. I'm just here to explain to you that in order for you to recession-proof your life, you have to, number one, set bigger goals. And number two, you have to prioritize income. So that means whatever the income that I have coming in is, I've got to prioritize it. I've got to give every dollar a purpose. But then the other side of prioritizing my income is about me focusing on making new income and not just focusing on shrinking my bills and my expenses. So now I've got to get creative to figure out new ways to make income, which brings me to number 3, think like a business. If you think like a business, then that means you're going to have to think about revenue, income. You got to follow the money. And you can't be concerned about what people think because you're following the money. Because the truth is, people who think you're following money are people who just don't understand that you've prioritized money. That's why you're following it. And the reason why you prioritize money, because you want your money to finance your goals, which may have nothing to do with money. Your goal may just be to be free to serve the community. Your goal may just be to help families in need, or to do ministry full time, or to just travel. Whatever your goals are, they have to be financed. And your goals won't be financed if you don't prioritize income, and you will not prioritize income correctly if at some point you don't think like a business. Now, one of the exercises I gave my students and mentees for number 3 is you need to put together a balance sheet for yourself, a personal balance sheet. This is how you think like a business. So when you think about having a personal balance sheet, here's how it should look. You're going to have on one side, you're going to have assets. Okay, let me just move this over a little bit. So you're going to have on one side of your balance sheet, you're going to have assets. And then the other side of your balance sheet, you're going to have liabilities. Okay? And then you're going to have what your assets and liabilities equal, what they equal, right? And then there are at least 5 areas you want to look at assets and liabilities in. So you're going to have spiritual assets and liabilities. You're going to have financial assets and liabilities. You're going to have physical assets and liabilities. You're going to have relational. And then you're going to have intellectual. Man, I ruined that word intellectual. But you're going to have these 5 areas of assets and liabilities, okay? And you're going to look at each of these areas of your life to see what are the spiritual assets and liabilities that I have. And what does that equal? What are the financial assets and liabilities? Physical, relational, intellectual. And this is going to become your own personal balance sheet. Okay? This is what helps you, ladies and gentlemen, think like a business. Every business has a profit and loss statement. Every business has a balance sheet. Now, if you are a business owner, you should have a balance sheet for yourself and for your business, for your biz. If you don't have it, it's only because you have not learned how to do it. You just need to learn the ins and outs of crafting a balance sheet for yourself and a balance sheet for your business. So what is the 4th thing you need to do in order to recession-proof your life? You need to commit to collaboration. This is by far one of the hardest things for most people to do, especially entrepreneurs. You know why? Because most people have egos that are so big, they don't think they need collaboration. But one of my mentors, he always says this. I've heard him say this for the last 5 years straight. He always says, collaboration is the new currency. Collaboration is the new currency. Currency is money. So what he's saying is, if we have an income problem, if we need more income, more money, more currency, more revenue, one of the ways we can fix this income or currency problem is through committing to collaboration. You got to get committed to working with people. One of the things that you're going to continue to see within the next few to several years, we're talking about the next 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 years is you're gonna see more collaboration. You're gonna see more collaborations. Now, they may call it something else. The larger the businesses are, the larger the groups are, the larger the churches are. There are churches that are collaborating together today. We call them mergers. There are companies that are collaborating together that we call them mergers. We used to see it. There were certain pockets in the past where you would see this explosion of mergers, which are collaborations. But we need to see it on a more personal level. We need to see it on more of a small business level, on more of a solopreneur, entrepreneur level. We need to collaborate. Imagine you being a solopreneur, having an idea. You're not generating a lot of revenue in your business. You're not as big as you would like to be. But imagine if you collaborated with 4 other people who are doing similar things that what you're doing, or they're doing certain strategic things that complement what you do. Imagine if all 5 of you collaborated, how much better your business will be. Well, your business will at least be 4 times better because you got 4 collaborators. It will be 4 times better just because you collaborated. I think this is one of the most underused assets that most people have. Let's go back to our balance sheet. If relational assets are part of my balance sheet and relational liability, so that means if I don't have any professional relationships with people in my business, partnerships, strategic alliances, I don't have investors, I ain't got none of that, then that means all I got is liabilities relationally. I ain't got no assets. So this is number 4. And I promise you, and that's a strong word, promise, but I promise if you figure out how to master these things that I'm sharing with you, I guarantee you, there's another strong word, I promise you that your life is going to change. You will continue to elevate the assurance that you are recession proof. You won't be negatively affected by the recession. And number 5, you want to multiply your moves. This is the 5th thing you want to do. You want to multiply your moves. This was a great lesson I taught last night during my weekly coaching call to our coaching clients. And I'm sharing this with all of you, number 1, because I love my community. I love people. I'm a teacher at heart. I'm an educator. I'm a pastorpreneur. So business is like ministry to me. It's a part of my reasonable service. It's a part of my assignment, my mission. Business is really ministry for me. So I really want you to win, and I don't want you to be victimized by what you see going on. There's a lot of volatility going on. There's a lot of uncertainty, all of which you don't have to be a victim of, okay? But are you willing to do what I'm saying that you need to do? Number 5, you need to multiply your moves. So what that means is you need to have the endurance to do multiple times more than what you're already doing. And you don't need to use as an excuse, oh, I'm tired, I'm burnt out, I just ain't got enough time. You're lying to yourself. You have been programmed to believe you're burning out, to believe you ain't got no balance, to believe you ain't got no time. It's just not true, because you have the same 24 hours in a day as a trillionaire does. You have the same 24 hours in a day as the richest person in the world does, as the most powerful person in the world. You have the same 24 hours in a day, whether you are the laziest person or the most ambitious person. But what are you doing with those 24 hours? Because people who are successful are doing different things with the same 24 hours. Some of them don't even have some of the assets that you might have. Some of them might not even have some of the same assets you have. I know some people who got financial assets, but spiritually they broke. Physically they toe up from the flow up. Relationally, don't nobody even want to be around them. And intellectually, they think they smart, but they're idiots. They just had a great opportunity financially and they seized it. You understand what I'm saying? So once you put this together, you start seeing yourself differently. And so I encourage all of you today, because my time is limited, I only have a few more minutes on the show, take these 5 things that I'm saying, integrate them into your life, keep working on them and dialing in on them and polishing them up until they become a masterpiece of practice and perfection for your daily habits, okay? So when you set bigger goals, make sure that your goals are always considering the worst things that can, and some of them will happen, okay? Some things are just inevitable. Problems are going to show up. Challenges are going to happen. People are going to go through a lot. But guess what? You ain't got to be the victim to those situations and circumstances. So number 1, you want to set bigger goals. Number 2, you want to prioritize income. You want to make sure that in addition to all the other things you got on your mind, you got money on your moolah, baby. And I keep trying to explain. I'm not even going to say I try to explain. I keep emphasizing to especially Christian believers that just because you got money on your mind don't mean you got to take God off your mind. You ain't got to compromise your relationship with God just because you going after money. The truth is, my goals are so big, they require a lot of money because a lot of my goals are all about God. It's just about me wanting to help more people, help build my church, sow into people, be a blessing, take care of people. I need money to do it. So I'm really not chasing the income as much as I'm chasing the fulfillment of my goals, which are going to benefit God, the kingdom, and other people, okay? Number 3, you want to think like a business. One of the best ways to think like a business before we go is to put a balance sheet together for yourself and your business. And your balance sheet should be made up of assets minus liabilities equals whatever. Spiritual, financial, physical, relational, and intellectual. That's how you put a balance sheet together. Every person should have a balance sheet. Number 4, commit to collaboration. Find and align yourself with people who are doing more than you, who are more successful than you, who are further along than you. And number 5, multiply your moves. Don't just do one thing. Add more things to it so that you could get further up that road. So listen, if you enjoyed today's show, please give me some feedback in the chat, in the comments. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was. You know, my team and I, we are always available. We're here to help you. In the description of this video, you will see our contact information as well as a link to a advisory assessment form that you can freely complete and submit, and my team and I will reach back out to you and offer you a complimentary advisory assessment. That means we will take a few minutes to help formulate a roadmap for you, absolutely free. All that information is in the description. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining the Ramon Preston Show today. And you already know we'll be back here, same place, same time tomorrow, 12 o'clock noon, right here on the Ramon Preston Show.